All the shiny Pokemon you can't own, at least as of making this video. If you clicked on this video, you probably know very well what a shiny Pokemon is, so I'm not gonna give you a whole lecture on that. It's pretty common knowledge that all Pokemon has its very own shiny form, though there has been a few exceptions in the past, such as Magearna, who didn't have a shiny form until Generation 8. But researching for this video, the only Pokemon I could find that doesn't seem to have a shiny form is Stellar Form Terapagos, so I won't be including that in this video. But some Pokemon has never had their shiny form released, that being through normal playthroughs such as soft resetting or special events. So without further ado, let's get into all the shiny Pokemon that you cannot own without a cheating device. First off, there is a few that I just want to go through for formality's sake, as most of you probably don't even care about these. There is a ton of shiny locked Pikachus, such as all of these Cap Pikachus and all of the cosplay Pikachus, aside from the partner Cap Pikachu and the original Cap Pikachu, and the Pikachu Libre, which can apparently be found in Pokemon Go, as well as the partner Pikachu and Eevee from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Again, these are not interesting, and that's all I'm gonna say about those. Now, let's get into the ones that are actually interesting. And for this, we will go through all of them chronologically through each generation. Starting off with the only Pokemon from Generation 4, that being Spiky-Eared Pichu. Some of you may not even know what this is, and I have a video planned for this Pichu soon, but in short, Spiky-Eared Pichu was only obtainable through an event in Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver, and it can never leave those games. Spiky-Eared Pichu can only be found in these games, and no matter how many times you soft reset, Spiky-Eared Pichu will never shine. In Generation 5, we have Victini. Victini is actually one of the most surprising Pokemon on this list, being introduced such a long time ago. But getting a legitimate shiny Victini is impossible. There has been several events for Victini over the years, none of which were shiny. Even when players could catch Victini themselves through the Liberty Pass event, Victini was shiny locked. Maybe Victini's time will come one day, but as of making this video, this awesome shiny is yet to have its day come. But Victini is only one of 3 Pokemon from Generation 5 that can never be shiny. The second one is Keldeo. I'm gonna be honest, out of all the completely shiny locked Pokemon out there, I swear I have seen shiny Keldeo more than anything else. I've seen so many shiny Keldeos that I was even starting to believe that there must have been some sort of event that released a shiny Keldeo at some point, but that's just a lie. And the last unobtainable shiny from Generation 5 is Meloetta. We have had surprisingly few events from Meloetta, the last one being 6 years ago, and less than 10 events in total. Even so, Meloetta has never been able to sparkle, and its shiny is locked to this day. And now we're moving on to Generation 6. First off, we have the Battle Bond / Ash Greninja. This Pokemon can never be shiny, and interestingly, this actually made a difference in competitive play, because having a shiny Greninja actually gave you a disadvantage, because your opponent would be able to tell which ability you were using because Ash Greninja can't be shiny. When Generation 6 dropped, I knew quite a few people who wanted to collect all the different Vivillon forms. Some even included the shiny forms. Try doing that with Spin. But what sucks is the fact that the Pokeball pattern for Vivillon is completely shiny locked, and it has been so ever since its release. So if you want to collect every version of Vivillon, just know there is one of them that you simply cannot get. But moving on, we have Hoopa. Much like Meloetta, we haven't had a Hoopa event in a very long time. But also like Meloetta, Hoopa's time to shine has never come. And to be honest, I'm not even sure how I feel about this shiny. I do, however, know how I feel about Volcanion's shiny though. And look, I know. Subjective opinions and all that, but this is dog shit. Despite its shiny being what it is, it has never been obtainable legitimately since its introduction. I actually almost forgot about this one, but Eternal Flower Floette, also known as Ace's Floette, can also never be shiny. This Pokemon has its own stats and a signature move, but again, this Pokemon can't be obtained in itself. But it does have a shiny form that can't be obtained either, so I guess it counts, so there you go. Now we're getting into Generation 7. Solgaleo and Lunala are actually pretty unique here. Though, yes, of course, both Solgaleo and Lunala can be shiny. However, its pre-evolved forms, Cosmog and Cosmoem, can never be shiny. There has also never been any events for the two Pokemon either in the mainline Pokemon games. But I also don't think that this one is on the top of people's list for shiny locked Pokemon that they are most upset about. Coming in sort of in the middle of Generation 6 and 7 is Magearna. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Magearna did not have a shiny form until the introduction of Pokemon Home. Some people mistake its Pokeball form as its shiny, which it is not. Normal Magearna and Pokeball Magearna each have their very own shiny form, which have never been released. We have Marshadow, who has one of the weirdest shiny mechanics ever. Shiny Marshadow looks exactly like normal Marshadow, except for when it attacks. Normally it will turn green, but its shiny variant will turn purple. In all honesty, this is incredibly stupid. Now don't get me wrong, I think the idea of this mechanic is actually pretty cool. It just seems entirely pointless to introduce a new mechanic like this and then never have it be available. What's the point of doing this if the regular player never has a chance to see it? But maybe that's just me. Anyways, shiny Marshadow, unobtainable. So this one is a bit of a technicality. Melmetal was introduced in Generation 7, but it is sort of shiny locked in Sword and Shield. Even though Melmetal itself is not shiny locked, the G-Max one you can get in Sword and Shield is. And Max Mushrooms will not work for other Melmetals, making shiny G-Max Melmetal unobtainable. Moving on to Generation 8, we have Kubfu and both forms of Urshifu. There has never been a catchable Urshifu event, and there has been no Kubfu events. And these Pokemon are only available through the Sword and Shield Isle of Armor DLC, where the Kubfu is shiny locked. Zarude is also a Pokemon who's never been available as a shiny. Getting this Pokemon in itself was a little annoying, mostly being distributed in person for the movie and through Pokemon Trainers Club newsletters. None of them could ever be shiny, however. From the Crown Tundra DLC, both Spectrier and Glastrier are shiny locked, and there has never been any event for any of them because, well, money. And in this case, I think it's kind of a shame, as shiny Spectrier absolutely looks amazing, in my opinion. But we're probably not going to see these Pokemon shiny for a very long time. But the same thing can of course be said for Calyrex. Just like Urshifu, Glastrier, and Spectrier, money is cool so you can't have it. And with that, Calyrex wraps it up for Generation 8. Now let's get into the final generation, Gen 9. The box legendaries Koraidon and Miraidon are both shiny locked and unobtainable. I think these shinies look great, and I am sure at one point in the future they will be released just like Zacian and Zamazenta. But while we're on the topic of Gen 9, you kind of have to take this with a pinch of salt. Sure, they're shiny locked at the time of recording and uploading this video, but some of these Pokemon might not be shiny locked in a month from now. It's still the newest generation and things are constantly changing, but I also kind of want to show off what these Pokemon's shiny forms look like. But I'll go through them relatively quick. And as of recording this video, chest form Gimmighoul and Goldengo can be shiny, but roaming Gimmighoul cannot be shiny. Through the Scarlet and Violet DLC, we got Ursaluna Blood Moon. Though regular Ursaluna can be shiny, Ursaluna Blood Moon cannot. Speaking of Legends Arceus though, the newest genie, Enamorus, can also never be found as a shiny, currently making it the only one of the genies without shiny possibilities. All 4 of the Ruin Pokemon are also shiny locked, that being Wu-Chen, Qianpao, Ting-Lu, and Chi-Yu. And listen, that Chi-Yu has to be one of the prettiest and most pleasing shinies I have seen in a long time. The trio of Okidogi, Munkidori, and Fezandipiti are all also currently shiny locked. Ogerpon and all of its forms are also shiny locked for now. The Scarlet exclusive Paradox Pokemon, Raging Bolt and Gouging Fire are also shiny locked. The Violet exclusive Paradox Pokemon, Iron Crown and Iron Boulder, are also shiny locked. And Iron Leaves and Walking Wake are also currently shiny locked. Also coming from the Scarlet and Violet DLC, Pecharunt is also shiny locked. And the final Pokemon that can currently never be found as shiny is Terapagos. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed, and I just want to thank all of you for the massive support on my last video. And I'll be working on cut Pokemon from Generation 2 very soon. Maybe you found this video helpful. Who knows, maybe you received a weird shiny in a trade, so I hope this helps.